Hello and welcome to a quick little tutorial on no-view NotesDocument lookups via UNID logic and environment variables. I've gotten a lot of questions on this, so I figured the easiest way to show you what the heck I'm talking about is to actually just show you an application and walk you through the steps. A lot of the applications I've been releasing lately have been controlled via a preference document. That's a simple notes document within the database that contains keywords and various application preferences, such as application bylines, as I mentioned, the keywords, the sidebar configuration options for Xcopy, for example, and a few other pieces. And I really want to step back from the approach that I was using, and that approach was to have the notes document and include that notes and access that notes document via a by key view. It's a back-end view that just sorts all documents in the database by a key, and that key happened to be preferences. It works great on small applications, however, it's not very scalable. The more applications you get in, or the more documents you get in the applications, the more of a performance hit you're going to see. So, using an approach that was really recently popularized by Andrew Pollack and Nathan Freeman, I went with some UNID, or NotesDocument Unique ID, referred to as UNID, logic-driven approach, and I'm using environment variables so I don't have to process that UNID logic time and time again. So we'll get right into it. When I open up this simple example database, which you can see in the notes of this quick tutorial, available for download, the initialize event of the database actually processes a simple evaluated formula statement, replacing the substrings on password hashing of the term preferences. I now know what that value is going to be, as it's stored in the hash preferences as a keyword in my environment variables. That's going to be what I'll use for my document unique ID for my preference document, which I'm driving from a simple view. When I click the preference document here, sorry for the screen size, but I want to get as much on the screen in this tutorial as possible. When I click on this, I simply step through, I grab the environment variable. If it's for whatever reason not there, just simple error catching, so you can see this process, I set the preference document to that value, getting it by the document unique ID. You can see here there are absolutely no views involved whatsoever. If that document does not exist, I simply create a document. This line right here, I set the value of the preference document's universal ID logically, setting it to this value here. I then save the document, open it up in the UI. So if I go back to the actual application, I click on the preferences document, immediately comes up, and you're going to see that performance throughout the application, that immediate pull. That works great for a single button, but let's actually use these documents. So I'll go in and I've added my categories, I've added my status. Let me go into a new document. Now the new document, I have a status and a category field here. I can select via drop-down, and I have my active and inactive status, or I can simply type ahead and have the values listed there. This is controlled if we go into the designer client, and I'm going to cheat here, and I'm actually going to open up the document form. The field value, it's a simple dialog list type field. You can see here, I'm just getting the environment value of the hash preferences, doing a doc field lookup on the UID, passing it this name, pulling back the status. I do the same for categories. And in the drop down, this is slightly different. I have to evaluate it because this application actually allows for keyword aliasing, which is why I'm using a dialog list type field. And that's pretty much it. You get the added bonus of having a preference document. And if we go back into the actual views within the database, you'll see that I have no views here for lookup whatsoever. So you get the bonus of having that immediate access and without the performance pangs. Now, to extend this technique, if you want to have preference documents based on the individual user, you could still use the #_preferences because this is the hashing of preferences. However, if you want to include the hashing of a user's name, preferences _ Chris Toohey, you could hash that and it be unique, and then just have the user preference profiles or the user preference notes documents set that as their UNID, and you're accessing it instantaneously. Any questions, comments, suggestions, feel free to comment in the tutorial notes on YouTube. Feel free to hit me on my site, www.dominoguru.com, and hopefully this technique is as useful to you as it is to me. Take care.